Welcome everybody to the Status Town Hall number 70 on the 18th of January 2021. It has been a while since our last call, so we've got a jam-packed town hall for you, so I hope you all enjoy it. So first up, we are very lucky to have Steph, who has joined us as the head of People Ops. So Steph only joined last week, and she's going to give us a very quick update, but I'm sure she'll have lots more updates in the town halls to come. So over to you, Steph, on the People Ops side. Sorry, Steph, could you just start that again?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Oh, okay. I'm really happy to be here again with you, Terry, and with everybody that I met the first time I was around with the Status. And I'm also very impressed to see how the people and the product have matured in the time that I've been gone. As you said, I started last week, and I've been almost overwhelmed by everyone's warm welcome and also by the long list of things to look into. So I started looking at data, I started looking at reports, and I'm starting to bring up a little roadmap for the first half of the year. So in the first quarter and the second probably as well, one of the priorities is to look at reviewing compensation and also setting guidelines to understand performance and what defines success in a way that People Ops can support the product roadmap as well. And for the compensation side, we will be looking at reviewing salaries and creating guidelines that are more transparent on how that happens. On an ongoing level, what I want to be focusing on throughout the year is the contributor experience in general. So looking at the data in Beacon, burnout index, loyalty, restarting with check-in chats with people operations, and reviewing our handbook and all that material. Also be focusing on recruitment and candidate experience, as well as on the legal side, contracts and documentation. If you can click next. Okay, the only thing that I wanted, that I know that this hasn't been looked at in a while, is the engagement score that we have in Beacon. Carrie was looking at this and presenting more regularly about it. I think it still looks really good. I will be going into the tool and replying individually to the comments that indicate the a need for replying. But so far, so good overall, I would say. And with that, if anyone wants to have a chat, feel free to ping me at any time, and I will pass it on to Theo for the next slide.
Thank you, Steph. Over to Theo on the recruitment side.
Thanks, Terry. As normal, we start with our anniversary. Previous slide, please, Terry. That's it. Thank you. And at this town hall, we have quite a few anniversaries. It's been a month since our last one. So we would like to say a massive thank you to Roman. He's been with Status for the past 5 years. Hester, Vitali, Zachary, and Sergey have been with Status for the past 3 years. We give you a massive thank you, guys, for all the effort and the work that you've put in for the Status network. The team appreciates having you on board, and we're looking forward to more achievements and goals set together. Next slide, please, Terry. In terms of hiring updates, we're still looking for quite a few people. We've recently managed to hire someone really great from who brings a good amount of experience in scaling solutions and infrastructure. He's going to join the infra team as a site reliability engineer, working with Jakub and Corey. We've also managed to make another hire for the Waku JS lead position. So this person would drive the JavaScript implementation of Waku and also work on integrating Waku with third parties such as wallet providers, decentralized applications, and specifically targeting machine-to-machine communications. We're also looking for a product UI engineer that will join the core team, someone that would partner with design and development squads to build intuitive user interfaces Another role is a protocol engineer within the VAC research team, someone that would work on the WACU protocol. Nimbus team is also looking for an engineer, someone that enjoys dribbling with NIM. This person would work on the Ethereum 2.0 Lite client. And another role is within our finance team. We're looking for an accountant that will take ownership of all accounting function, will work with the finance team to internalize, improve our accounting processes, automate tasks, and assure concise reporting. Passing on to Ruslan from finance. Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Theo. Next up, we have Ruslan from the finance team to give us an update. So over to you, Ruslan.
Thank you, Terry. Good afternoon, everyone. So last time I've done treasury update 2 months ago, and the standing was that we had approximately 70 million in total assets in treasury and 6 months of fiat runway. And we made a promise to extend our fiat runway. So 2 months down the road, we have delivered on our promise. And we've used the recent rally in crypto markets at our advantage to sell crypto at really favorable prices. So where do we stand now? Total assets in the treasury are 156 million US dollars, of which 20 million, more than 20 million is pure fiat, which gives us approximately 18 months of fiat runway, plus 75 million US dollars. We have positions in 2 major cryptocurrencies, and plus approximately $69.7 million is the position in S&T. So which gives in total in the current market prices, and we all know that crypto markets are extremely volatile, it gives us a total runway of approximately 11 years to finance the project at the current spending ratio that we budgeted for this year. One more interesting thing I would like to drive your attention to, obviously, crypto space and value networks is something new, and the concepts of corporate finance may not work entirely for valuing crypto ecosystems. But nevertheless, if we use Warren Buffett's approach towards valuing our ecosystem, then we may discover one interesting undervalued fact. And the fact is the following. The total value, market value of all our tokens is 190 million US dollars, which shall represent the future cash flow generation ability of our applications on the blockchain, and plus other assets we have. But what is interesting is approximately 60% of that value sits in pure cash and 2 major cryptocurrencies, which is quite an interesting observation. And definitely, we can see that crypto markets probably did not take this information into the account in valuing our ecosystem. But obviously, yeah, it's quite an evolving field, and we hope that it will fix itself. So thanks a lot. We are very bullish about the project. And we are well funded, and our runway is secured for years to come. Now back to Terry.
Thank you, Ruslan. That was really interesting. Next up, we're going to hear from Andrea from Core. So over to you, Andreas.
Thank you, Terry. So quick update. So basically, we've been working last week on profit pictures. That's one of the features that we're going to be adding to 1.10. Then next, we're going to be working, and we are working on docker notification for transactions, migrate normal accounts to Keycard. So like if you have a normal account and you decide to upgrade to Keycard, then you can keep your, you can keep your account without having to reinstall the app. And GitHub link previews. That's something that we have already worked on through the link transfer link. In terms of planned releases, so there was also a question about it, so I'll answer it here. So we are still in the process of releasing 1.10. It's been a bit delayed because we first hit a issue just in late December with our RC. It was a bit difficult to replicate, so it took a bit of time to understand what it was. But once we managed, we pushed a fix, and that was done. By that time, quite a lot of staff was on holiday, so we delayed it for another week. And then last week we were basically ready to release, but because app stores have started cracking down a bit on apps without moderation, we decided to slightly modify the new profile picture feature to give more control to the user about what kind of features they're going to be able to see. So that basically pushed the release to hopefully this week, is under testing now. If it's tested successfully, we're going to be pushing it to the app stores, waiting for the review approval system to kick in, and then release it. So it's going to be hopefully this week, maybe to last week, depending on how fast it is. What we're going to be working next, so we're going to continue developing communities, which is one of our objectives for Q1. We're going to polish up Android local notifications, which we haven't been working on for a bit since they've been released. We're going to continue working on message reliability. So we're going to be adding end-to-end message confirmation. So you're going to be able basically to see a double tick for your at least one-to-one chats. We're going to see if we can also do it for private group chats. And then people that had some connectivity issue with these 3 nerds. So that's something that we're going to be looking on. We found some of the issues, not all of them probably, but we'll continue looking into that. And as a part of the initiative, we're also thinking about pushing, allowing users to opt in, give us anonymous metrics through Waku. That's something that will really help us to understand which features are helping, like to get more feedback on the app, so we know better how to provide, like something that is useful to our users. I think that's pretty much it from core. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much. Next up, we've got Yuri, who is give us an update on the desktop. Over to you, Yuri.
Hello. So on desktop, we did a beta 5 release recently on December 16. I'm sorry, beta 4, and we're doing the beta 5 now any moment together with mobile 1.10 to coincide with the profile picture release. So just to highlight some of the features recently, so we can go next slide. First, the notifications have been revamped. So before we only had custom notifications. Now we support the operative system notifications, although you can still configure this as you want. The advantage that if you use the custom notifications, the messages are not stored on the operative system layer, which could be desirable or not, depending on your privacy needs. And all of this also can be configured, like what type of message you want, what you want it to show. You can also configure how much notification you get and in what situations. Then another feature on the next slide is the timeline, and this is gonna come now in beta 5. It's gonna be enabled by default, so it's that icon you can see on the left, and this is the timeline feature, just like it's already available on mobile. So now you can see that in desktop and also do your own updates. And then on the next slide we'll have the profile picture, and this you can upload your own profile picture. We have this Jonathan did this neat widget that you can select, exactly what you want your picture to be, and you can also by default your picture will only show to contacts, but you can also configure that everyone can see the pictures. Then our other feature on the next slide is the URL or unfurling. So the first time that there's a supported domain that has not been unfurled before, it will first ask you, do you want to unfurl this? And then if you say yes, you can remember that setting. So every time then it just has that nice unfurling that we're used to in other chat apps. Then on the next slide, we got the browser, and the browser is pretty much fully functional. At this point, we just need to do some more testing, also exploring some issues people might report. So for now, will be hidden, although it can be enabled in the settings. It pretty much does everything you expect it to. You can, it has bookmarks and favorites. I don't know, it supports different things you would expect in a normal browser, pretty much. But you also have the wallet, if you can see there on the right corner. And each tab can have its own account associated to it, and you can change that account per tab. And it will remember that for that particular URL or DApp. And yeah, please give it a go. Let us know if you find any issues, what do you think, or any feature requests you might have. Then on the next slide, we got quick search. So we had several people, several contributors ask for this. And this feature in apps like, for example, Discord. This is when you do Command K or Control K, and we have the same shortcut. What it does is that it opens this dialog with a list of channels, and as you type, it filters the channel, and then you can press Enter. It will go immediately to that channel. So if you don't like to search for the channel all the time, use your mouse, just want to keep it with the keyboard, you can use this to very quickly switch between chats. Then on the next slide, we have the communities. And this is not ready yet. We're including it to, so we can test it. It's disabled by default, so it's another thing that needs to be enabled in the settings. But when it's enabled, you can go then to the chat, create communities, and then join a community or create your own. And finally, in the final slides, now the setting has been completely revamped. So there's a lot of options in there. I highly encourage you to go there and explore. There's a lot of features that you might not know about that I'm not mentioning here that are hidden in there, that you can customize things to your liking. And that's it for now.
Thanks, Yuri. That was really good. Next up, we're going to hear from Alec on the growth and retention. So over to you, Alec.
Thank you. Hello. Let's start by looking at Google search impressions. So basically at our presence in the Google search results. So the orange taller column, that's the number of impressions we had this year. Blue shorter column, that's the number of impressions we had last year. So far this year, we appeared in the Google search results over 9 times more often than previous year. So this year, on average, we appeared over 50,000 times per day in search results versus over 5,000 last year. On the next slide, we will see how many clicks and visits it generated. So as you can see, well, obviously not every appearance in the Google search results equals to a visit. Still, we do see a significant increase in visits generated by Google search results. This year, we are getting over 900 visits per day versus over 100 visits per day last year. So what is interesting is that 95% of all these impressions and clicks are generated by so-called branded keywords. It wasn't that last year. Like last year, the ratio was completely different. Like it was like 25-30% of impressions and clicks were branded. And branded keywords are keywords like a status messenger or status wallet or status IM. And this means that our brand awareness improved by a lot. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this clicks, like our brand awareness, it results in app installs. So far in January, we are getting over 6,000 new app installs per day, and mostly because that's almost 100% on Android. And as you can see, this change, like the amounts differ by a lot. In the first week of January, the number of app installs was significantly higher than it is, let's say, right now or last week. But it's still like we see an increase. So you may wonder, like you may ask, how many Android users have Status app installed? So let's take a look on it on the next slide. So exactly a week ago, so on last Monday, we hit 300,000 users. That's how many people have the app installed on their Android device, and they haven't uninstalled it yet. So, by the way, that's something we should celebrate. I think like 300,000. That's a lot, and it's still growing. But yeah, not every app installation equals to an active user. So the next slide will tell us why. The lower orange part of the column represents the number of identified new peers. So basically, you can think about it as users actively using the app. The upper blue part of the column represents the number of new app installs which didn't manifest as new peers. So the both parts combined, like this whole thing, blue and orange, represents the total number of new installs at that day. So the purple line shows the share of new peers in the total number of new installs. And I understand it might seem difficult, but basically you can think about it as this whole column is how many installs we got. The bottom orange part is how many of these installs that day manifested as new peers. And this is one of the main metrics we use to estimate the onboarding process conversion rate. So as you can see, around the WhatsApp privacy policy mess, we saw a sudden increase in the onboarding conversion rate. So that was around 8th of January. And since then, it seems to be slowly descending to the previous averages of around 25%, meaning that 100 new app installs tend to generate 25 new peers, like 25 new users. I think I don't need to explain how important this metric alone is to our growth. So I strongly recommend anyone to see the Discuss thread called Waco-based analytics, in which we discussed this particular issue in detail. In the meantime, let's move on to the next slide. So we went through our brand awareness, app installs to new peers ratio. Now let's take a look at peers retention, basically. So blue lower column, these are returning peers. So peers we have seen in the past. Orange upper column, these are new peers. So peers we haven't seen before. Both in total represent the number of peers at any given date. The line shows us the returning peers share. So as you can see, in the last couple of days, it grew up to over 50%, which is great, meaning that more than half of the peers or users are returning, which is good. Like we need an inflow of new peers, but we also need to make sure that our users find the app worth returning to. And the next slide will provide us a slightly different view of the peer retention. So orange upper column, these are peers which we saw not only on the day 0, which is the day they installed the app, but also the very next day. This means that these are people who found the app so interesting or intriguing that the next day they also decided to log in and look around. As you can see, since the whole situation with WhatsApp, our day 1 retention is significantly higher, around 20%. This means that 20% of our new users decide to return to the app the next day. So that's cool. But definitely there's still room for improvement. And that's all from me now. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. That was really interesting. Next up, we're going to hear from Jacob, who will present the security and infrastructure slide. So over to you, Jacob. Thank you.
Hey, I think that's me. There's been some hints that some people might be trying to spoof our app and release a modified version pretends to be our app. So please look out for that. The only real currently official sources of our app is either the status.im website or Play Store or App Store. So please be wary of any other sources. If we do add additional sources for the app, that will be widely made public. So just be aware. There's also a cool blog post about Web3 security by Rajiv, so you should check it out. We fixed a pretty big security issue that was reported on HackerOne in the Status Desktop beta app related to access to local files. So we're already seeing benefits of expanding the HackerOne program. And Tobias and Rajiv are working on a better specification for decentralized referral program, since it's pretty difficult to make that kind of thing private and anonymous enough as our clients would like it to be. That's about it. Let's move on to infrastructure. Thank you. There's been a bunch of changes, actually 2 slides worth of changes. We finally updated the Android SDK from Nix packages, which took a while to merge into official Nix channels, but it's there. And along with that come a bunch of other updates to things like Go or Closure. We have some improvements for PR builds made available through GitHub comments to CDN to make it a bit faster for developers outside of Europe. We have a security improvement for Windows CI hosts that build the desktop app, just to protect against any possibility of anyone accessing those hosts from outside. We have a fix for modifying status Go when making PRs to status React, which before would fail to build. So it should be easier for external contributors to make changes to status React and status Go together. And some improvements in the setup for status React release and nightly builds for parameterization specifically. There's a bunch of different updates and fixes for general infrastructure, specifically related to metrics and alerting, since we're trying to split our infrastructure into more separately manageable parts. This is especially related to the Nimbus fleets. So we're kind of extracting parts like Grafana, Alert Manager, Prometheus, and so on into separate roles and making it more easy to essentially deploy separate stacks of those tools and split up the infrastructure. And this ties into a lot of monitoring work, which has been done with Cortex to make metrics retention more stable and metric querying faster, although there's still work ongoing on that. We probably will need like Memcached and some other cool stuff. And a bunch of fixes related to metrics, like, for example, NimWack returning multiple or duplicate labels of metrics, and also more advanced setup for VictoryOps alerts for canaries. Can I get another slide? Thank you. There's been improvements to join status IAM. So right now, the user and private group paths are not indexed by Google. They used to be. That was a mistake on our part. Right now, the only indexed sites from join status IAM are public channels and browser links. So that's much better now. We have some new instructions for installing desktop beta because it is beta and it's not properly signed yet for platforms like macOS or Windows. We need to essentially go around certain security features. Once desktop is stable, we should have signing for all of those platforms. So there should be no need for instructions like that. But for now, please check it out. They should be available right below the download links. There's more work on the fleets for Waco and Nimbus related to both the new Ethereum 2 mainnet, which started last month, but also just generally improving the process of testing and verifying releases of Nimbus before they go out so people can deploy them to their own nodes for mainnet. We also have a newsletter for Nimbus at subscribe.nimbus.team. So check it out if you want to be a recipient of emails about any major releases or possible issues or whatever else that's relevant for anyone running a Nimbus node, validator node. And we also have a bunch of work related to Ethereum 2 monitoring, which is supposed to be separate and distinct to make it, I guess, much higher priority than a lot of other infra. That's about it for infrastructure. There's a bunch of other fixes, but this is the majority of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. Next up, we are going to hear from Guy Louis, who's going to give us an update from Keycard. Thank you, Guy.
Yeah, hi, everyone. This is going to be a pretty simple one. In the past month, we've mostly been working on two things. First, it's iOS integration. Basically, the integration is done. We're somewhere between 80 and 90% complete, I'd say. There's a PR with all features that's been under test, and a couple of bugs were found that the team is working on right now. Mostly about importing the mnemonic and recovering from Keycard. But that's well in progress, and so we'll have this iOS integration pretty soon. And as Andrea said, there's been work about this missing feature we had about how to migrate a normal account to a Keycard account. What are we going to be working on next? Two things: the upsell of Keycard within the app, and resetting a Keycard. When someone has set up a Keycard with a given account, it needs to be able to just delete this account from the Keycard. And there are two things that needs to be prioritized that we believe makes sense for the roadmap of the integration. First, it's to allow backup cards. Several of our users have been asking for that. Currently, it's not possible to have two key cards with the same account. So that's both useful for the user for his own security, and also it allows us to sell more key cards. So that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing is we need to decide if we want to simplify the onboarding, and the decision is about abstracting the pairing code and the puke code by making them a derivation from the seed. That would be a big simplification to the process, because currently when you set up a card, you need to be writing down a couple of things. And I mean, that's the puke, the pairing code, your PIN code, and your mnemonic. So that's a lot. And we've got to decide if we do that or not. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thanks. Yeah, and on the manufacturing and selling side, not much new things here in the past month, but a quick snapshot of where we are. Very roughly, we are preparing a new batch because we only have a couple of hundreds of product of key cards still in stock. With this new batch, we want to have a new packaging ready. So we need to finish this work of having this new packaging. And that's the purchase order to prepare with the factory and decide on and define the exact timelines with them. And in terms of shipment, we still have this problem, which is the number one problem in terms of after sale of shipments being very slow. Shipments are done from Europe, from France, precisely, and orders for Asia, South America, remote countries, which are far from Europe, often takes 4 to 5 weeks. And so we've got a lot of customers asking for updates. This is not solved. We'll get express shipment working. We've been mentioning that for a couple of months now. But this is really on top of the list. So this will get done also. And that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy-Louis. Next up, we're going to hear from Johnny from marketing.
Thanks, Terry. So I'll start with some of the work that we're doing in Latin America. The numbers here are redirects to the install store from our influencers. And you'll see this is just from 2021. So Crypto Maniacos is our leading influencer with over 3,000 installs. Augusto Bacchus, 809. Felipe Persigo, who's new in Brazil, with 166. So generally, the work with the influencers is working quite well. And we're seeing really active public channels that these influencers are driving to. So that's working great. Also in Latin America, we've got a series of events that we've been doing meetups. So you'll see in the corner if you're watching on YouTube, Crypto Atelier, which is a meetup hosted by Juan David in Colombia. And Alan and Eduardo have been doing great work with the media in Latin America. We've gotten a lot of really good coverage. So overall, things are going quite well. Now we just need to figure out how we can get better retention with our users. Next, in Asia, we're planning a Chinese New Year initiative with Steven, just something light and fun to activate the pretty active community that's already growing in the Chinese channel, and working with Jinho on a go-to-market strategy, which will lean more heavily towards the trader and technical community, because we've seen like obviously high trade volumes in Korea, and then also a really strong interest in staking and node programs. We're working on a survey, just a widespread survey with our PR team, Waxman, and that's just a general survey to get a bit of sense of what the community perception around certain key features of Status are. Since the beginning of the year, we've seen obviously all-time high in unique peers. So we're going to be doing a re-engagement campaign. More details on that to come, but it should be rolled out in the next few days, just waiting on some legal checks there. So that's good. The team, we've been working with product on a crypto on-ramp, so we'll obviously have a phased rollout of those on-ramps in Status, pretty lightweight phase 1 and a more integrated phase 2. ASO, so App Store optimization, improvements have already been seen. I think it's primarily because of higher install rates and higher search traffic, but with 1.10, we've got new descriptions, short descriptions, loading it up with keywords. So the organic, the organic search for Status in both the App Store and the Play Store should start to increase. And then we've also got a test plan for optimizing our imagery. Our evergreen CPI campaigns are stable. They were quite cheap this year, and our installs are up to around 8K per day. And that's just kind of like a standard base, which we're using for installs and also to collect data. And then also as an experiment, we're working on a quiz app with a third party, which is really just a pilot to test a earn crypto initiative within the application itself. Next slide. We've been featured in the press quite a bit, both in Latin America and in global press. A lot of it was centered around the WhatsApp privacy policy update, and which was great for us. And then we've also been featured quite a bit in just general like end of year recaps, and there was like a holiday gift guide in which Keycard was featured. But overall, our press coverage for 2021 and end of 2020 has been really high, and we're going to try and continue this momentum. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Johnny. Next up, we're going to hear from Simona, who will give us an update from the community and ambassadors. Over to you, Simona.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year and all of that. Do we still say that? Just to begin the update, drum roll here, the community's feature is work on it is finally underway, which is awesome to kind of get the 2021 started. We have mapped it out in 3 phases, aiming for phase 1 to cover Q1, then phase 2, Q2, and then phase 3 in time for DevCon 6, which is in August this year. The idea with this is to really bring together all of the different elements that Status has to offer and really push towards that platform functionality that we know Status has, but now making it incredibly, incredibly useful and usable for communities in the crypto space, but also outside of the crypto space. So this is an incredibly exciting piece that you will be exposed to as we go through the build. Engagement has been up, which is great to see again from the figures shared by Alec and also by Johnny earlier. We're seeing a great uptick in engagement and messages across the different public chats. We're also seeing a lot of new public chats emerging. So we're seeing even some of the existing communities in the crypto space either bridging their existing channels, Telegram or Discord, into Status, or setting up shop in Status natively, such as CLR Fund has been doing great there, and also Rare AF. So it's wonderful to see. And hopefully, as the community's feature evolves, we will see a lot more of that. The Status Punks, this is something that I really want to highlight, is a grassroots movement created by a group of very passionate community members. You can join the public chat there, and they're essentially incredibly passionate about the future of Status, what we're doing, what the potential is. So if you are also so inclined, please join the channel, and let's boost that Status Punks. Educational and Earn as You Learn initiatives. As Johnny mentioned, we are actually, let me start with Gitcoin Kernel. We are collaborating with Gitcoin Kernel, their incubator, and running a security track. This program is all about, it's 8 weeks of learning and building. Our involvement, Corey is leading the security track alongside a few other big hitters in the security space in crypto, and we hope to really educate and work with newcomers who want to and are eager to become security experts, because we do need more security in the space. So that's great. As Johnny mentioned, we are building this quiz app. The idea with it is to be a very simple and very effective way of earning crypto as you are learning some basics about the different projects in the space. This will also become a piece of our broader educational initiative, where we aim to really be that gateway for people coming into the crypto space, and designing a path for them to get involved, but also learn about the ins and outs of all of the different applications and pieces of the crypto puzzle. Events, we've got ETH Denver in February. We're going to chat all about privacy. We're exploring a few different opportunities there, because it is an incredibly hot topic right now. So privacy and censorship, obviously. So we're working on that. Then we have ECC in April. We are the communications partner. It is part of the reason why phase 1 of the community's feature will be released in time for ECC. We very much want to get people testing it and providing feedback, so that we are able to continue the build with that valuable feedback, and build with the community, as we always have. DEF CON 6 is in August. Again, we are communications partner, which is another reason why phase 3 will be done by that time. It is incredibly important for us to essentially provide value and be a tool that is incredibly supportive of the Ethereum ecosystem, which is why we want that role of a decentralized privacy-first tool to be used by crypto projects versus continuing to rely on, dare I say, unreliable Web 2 solutions. Keycard will also be featured at DEF CON. We're working on all of those pieces, so stay tuned. We'll update you in due course. Next slide, please. So ambassadors, really quick stats, Q4 of 2020 and these first 2 weeks of 2021, we now have 47 ambassadors across 28 countries. Really great to see this meaningful geographical spread. We also welcome an Arabic region ambassador, Eman. She's wonderful. She was a DEF CON scholar last year in Osaka, so it's great to have her on board, contributing to translations and the community effort in the Arabic region. We have 118 completed tasks by ambassadors, again, Q4 and these first 2 weeks. So it's wonderful to see such engagement and involvement. We have a new Status Korean wiki. As Johnny mentioned, the Korean community is incredibly active and is incredibly eager for information, for opportunities to get involved. So we created this. Feel free to check it out. And then we have updated the guidelines for the tech tasks for ambassadors, just so they are a little bit more clear and a little bit more straightforward. We are also relaunching our bounties program with Gitcoin. So again, just making sure that all of these are in a nice, easy to follow funnel, and also rewards are dispersed a lot quicker and a lot easier. Next slide, please. So the latest is the app is now supporting 18 languages. We miscounted, it's 18, not 19. The latest ones being Greek, Tagalog, and Bengali, which is, again, wonderful to see such variety. And then the status homepage, we have 16 languages that we support. We hope to add more and more as we expand our ambassador program reach. And then I think we have one more. And then these are some of the shout outs. We are incredibly grateful to the ambassadors. We love the involvement across the board of new and long-standing contributors to our just to our work. Here are some of them, and you know, we want to support you guys and make sure that your work for Status and with Status is recognized. So thank you so much, and here's to a great 2021.
Thank you very much, Simona. Lastly, we're going to go through some questions and answers from the community. We did receive quite a high volume, which we are really grateful for. So we will try and address some of those now. We've deferred some questions to the next town hall in February because the contributors that are able to answer them are not available today. So we will start with question 1. How many developers contribute to Status? And that is by Dorset. So can I pass that over to Theo to answer that question?
Yes, Terry. At the moment, there are well over 30 engineers contributing to Status, and a growing number of open source fans who are supporting our repos on a constant basis. So I would say 30 plus core engineers, core contributors are engineers, plus a good number of people working in other areas.
Thanks, Theo. Question 2 is from Apprehensive Noisy Poodle, and it's the question is: can you give an estimated time frame when Tribute to Talk will be implemented within the Status app? So I'm actually going to ask John this question. John, are you able to take that question for us, please?
Yes. So launching Tribute to Talk is dependent on a scaling solution, because using Tribute to Talk really isn't viable with current mainnet gas prices. We're currently looking into scaling options, and as soon as the path forward is clear, this will give us our timeline of when we can launch Tribute to Talk. Yeah, we need a scaling solution first, so it's viable for people to actually be able to use.
Thank you, John. Question 3 is also from Apprehensive Noisy Poodle. Can you give an estimated time frame when Teller.exchange will be implemented and fully ready to use? John, would you like to take this one as well, please?
Yes, so the answer is kind of similar. Again, Teller would really benefit from a scaling solution, so it's usable for smaller transactions. If we were to launch it on mainnet today, because of mainnet gas prices, it wouldn't be viable for smaller transactions, so it's not a great time to launch it. So our current preference is to wait for a scaling solution to be available first. But with Teller, kind of in addition, there are also some other technical and compliance aspects as well that we need to work through before it can launch.
Thanks, John. And the next question, question 4, is from Alex24. It has been almost 2 months since version 1.9. Why so slow? So I'll pass this over to Andreas to answer that question.
Thank you. Yeah, so as explained before, we hit some technical issues with 1.10. It was about to be released late December. Then there was holidays, so that delayed a bit the release. And now because of what happened in the US and the Apple App Stores cracking down on applications that have no content moderation, we decided to make some last-minute changes to one of the features. It's under testing now, essentially, and hopefully will be released this week or next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that's all the questions we are going to answer today. If you did write in and we haven't answered them, please tune in our February town hall on the 15th of February, which we hope to then fully answer the rest of the questions. So this concludes our town hall for January. We wish everyone a happy and healthy year ahead. And thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye.